Answer me this one simple question. What do we get if we combine a one-night stand with a really weird hippie couple that lives in the mountains, with a bottle of vodka consumed straight, with 100 cigarettes smoked, with a flick knife and a taser, and with probably the worst constructed dish of food I've ever seen on film? We're about to find out when we go deep and talk about Strange Darling. Introducing the Deep Voice. Strange Darling is a movie directed by JT Mollner, and it stars Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner, and they play a man and a woman who find themselves in a one-night stand situation, and things start to get out of control and snowball from there. This is because one of them has a dark secret. This story and this premise may seem very straightforward. However, there are complexities in this story that keep it fresh and interesting and keep you guessing right the way through. The film is divided into 6 chapters. 6 chapters along a timeline. However, this does not flow in a linear fashion throughout the movie. You will swap from chapter 5 to chapter 2, say. So when you're watching a sequence, you're sometimes interested in what has happened preceding this sequence and what will happen afterwards. And this is a great way to keep your audience entertained and guessing right the way through. My main takeaway from this film was the realism. The interactions between the characters and even the way it was filmed, everything had this almost documentary feel in terms of realism. Now, the beginning of this film is very text heavy, which is unusual these days, and they have big title splash screens, similar to 80s films. The type that you don't see very often anymore, although I actually like this aesthetic, so I was pleased to see it. But a lot of text in the beginning to almost explain the situation and what you are seeing on screen. But done in a fashion where aesthetically it looks great. The camera work in this film was really good. Many wide shots. A shot in particular that I loved, it was inside a house, and there was a staircase, and the camera sweeps by as someone's ascending the staircase and goes through the house in one long shot. There is a reveal at the end of this shot, but the shot itself was beautiful to watch play out. There are shots in cool camera angles. At the opening, there are vehicles that are filmed in an interesting manner. But the acting is very realistic. Willa Fitzgerald plays a character who is very complex. She has to showcase a wide array of emotions throughout the entirety of this film. She has to show insecurities. She has to show every type of emotion. And Kyle Gallner, also very realistic acting. He has to demonstrate his determination on screen throughout the whole film, and he does this really well. This is again a director who seems to have done many shorts and one feature length prior to this. Again, just like in my last video, I haven't seen this prior feature film. But once again, a very accomplished director. And we're still going ahead on this upward curve, as I say, with horror, thriller genre, and films that actually have thought process behind them. The colour palettes in this film were a real talking point. There is a scene in a car early on where the colour palette is almost entirely blue. Now, this is a comforting kind of light, but you still feel like things aren't quite right. Conversely, there are scenes later on where the entire colour palette is red, and in these scenes, things are basically going crazy, and you really get that intimidating, oppressive feeling during these scenes. The film's ending had a really long shot where one of the actors is almost looking at the screen. They're looking at a character that's off screen. And it was entrancing, really. The scene goes on for a long time, but I was smiling while watching this scene because the acting was tremendous. This film was great. It was much better than I expected it to be. And I do recommend this film to anyone. The main takeaways here are that the acting is great, the camera work is great, the audio design, which I've not gone into, also fantastic. A lot of bass style crescendo music, and it fits with this perfectly. There are some non-OST soundtracks in there, which perfectly fit the scenes that they're involved in. But the original soundtrack itself is great. Quite minimal, but it reinforces whatever the characters are doing on screen at that. So, all in all, this was a great film. I watched it tonight. I recommend it to anybody. It's another one. I think we're getting lucky at this time. Go out and see it. Thank you.